5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello again, and welcome to another episode of Slash Chat Podcast. I'm Yirmiel here, and we have our lovely hosts.
We're not
You say?
He said we're not lovely.
Speak for yourself.
I am.
No. We're not lovely, but we like compliments either way.
That's true. That is true. That is true.
Take what we can get, I guess.
So, hopefully, our fifth one will be joining us soon-ish. Hopefully, knock on wood. Hopefully, he doesn't get lost. But anyhow, so hopefully we'll have all 5 of us here. Yay! It'll be the first time. Yay!
I'm awesome.
Super excited. So, as always, we are going to start off by introducing ourselves and tell you guys what we've been doing this week. So, Alex, start us off.
I am Alex, the post-mesmeric guy, and I'm still getting used to this new writing job, and even just doing one of these. This is sort of like a marketing copy job, so you gotta search engine optimization, all that stuff. Takes a little while, but I'm getting in the swing of things. But that being said, since I have to do that during the day, and then I have to go do my part-time job, I really haven't had too much time to do much stuff, which means I also need to set time aside at night to work on my gaming jobs and stuff, the writing. So I really haven't had too much time for games. I did have my Twitch stream last night, which was lots of fun. One thing I've been trying to do is play the games. Everyone plays the same games on Twitch, and I wanted to get more use out of my Elgato. I love that thing. So I played Donkey Kong 64, which was lots of fun. I mean, I've been wanting to play that game for a while. So
Wait, this is the first time you played Donkey Kong 64?
No, it's not the first time, but I haven't played it in a long time. So I can't remember the last time I played it. So I just went, because I played the Banjo-Kazooie games over and over again because they're on 360. So when I just I just want to play it again, and I played it again, and I still remember a lot about it, which is surprising. Maybe that shows how much I played it before. And it was great. I got to see my old GameSpot pal Sam is kind of now a regular, and he watches. I also got our pal John Zerbs Picanjo, and he watches the Slash Chat, and he loves submitting questions, and he's been very supportive. So sort of as thanks for him being such a great guy and a good friend of mine is now. John worked with his brother, Richie, on a series called Perfect Kirby, which was a series of Flash games where Kirby, the Nintendo character, kind of was sort of like Perfect Dark style, so he's like an action hero.
What?
And I don't know, but this was pretty old. You can find the series on Newgrounds. Very, very funny. So there's a running joke in this series where John there would be an animated version of John, and he would always get hurt. I don't know where this running joke came from, but in a lot of the episodes, John just gets hurt some way, like he gets shot, or he dies, or he gets punched or something. And I'm like, I don't know where this came from. So just as sort of as thanks, I found there's an episode in the series called A Midnight Snack where Kirby is trying to get a midnight snack, and there's a scene in the episode where you see where Kirby is flying around on the toaster for some reason, and you see a vase on a table, and you think that Kirby is going to come in and smash the vase accidentally. What instead happens is the camera pans over to what appears to be John smiling, and Kirby just hits him square in the groin, and then Kirby flies off screen. So what I did is I screen captured that and made a GIF of John just getting hit in the groin over and over again.
Who does?
And I just said there's no better way to say how much you appreciate a friend and a loyal Slash Chat viewer than to show him a GIF of him getting hit in the groin over and over. And of course, John's such a good sport because he was contributed to that creative decision to put that in the episode. So, and he was really thankful for that. And John, you've been really loyal to Slash Chat, and we really appreciate it. He's the one who watches. He watches our streams. He does all this cool stuff, and he watched my DK system stream. So, thanks, John. The only other thing that I've been not making any real game videos lately, which is I'm kind of upset with, but due to time, haven't been able to do that. I did finish Log Horizon, the first season, and I'm now in this state where I don't really have anything to watch in anime at night. I'm like, I just want Log Horizon Season 2. I can't believe how invested I am in this anime now, because they set it up for the second season really well. And the best part is, we know there's going to be a second season. Mm-hmm. Every other series that ends the first season with a stupid cliffhanger, like Rave Master did, like Dead Man Wonderland did, like Okami-san did. All of those blatantly set it up for another season, but they never got their other seasons. So what's the point? That completely ruins an anime for me. And I know the manga or the light novels continue it, but don't start something if you're not going to frickin' finish it.
Right. Could be a network issue where it's like, we don't want to pick up your show anymore. Bye.
That's exactly what it is.
I know, but I'm mad about that. But at least with Log Horizon, they set up a big story arc for the next season, and we know there's going to be another season. And that gives me comfort knowing that. And of course, it's such a good series. They completely. I mean, I was kind of surprised that at the very end, like right before they set it up, they kind of lay off the action and just kind of make it a little bit of slice of life. Because Jesus Christ, Katsuki tries so hard to impress Shira. It's like, oh my god, that's like freaking high school right there, even though she's 20 years old.
Senpai notices me.
Exactly. That's pretty much that's exactly what happens. Because he is essentially her senpai. I mean, he's her superior. And that point, the point where she's like, is this a date? I don't have anything to wear. That is the defining moment, because she breaks character so blatantly. And it's hilarious. What enough about Log Horizon? I'm hooked. And once again, Kat was right. It's an awesome series, a lot better than Sword Art Online.
That has become like a plague. Because every single person I've talked to that is like, yeah, I was like, you should go watch Log Horizon. They're like, literally like a week after, they're like, Kat, god damn you. I'm like, I'm sorry, it's just too good.
It's great. I mean, it's not as serious. I mean, the drama is there, but it's not heavy drama.
Right.
It's just the action supports the drama. Even the politics are actually kind of interesting. And apparently it's the only anime where people with glasses apparently have superpowers. Because they can manipulate everything.
Sorry to cut you off, but I did have an extreme argument with someone over the weekend that was trying to argue with me that Sword Art Online was better than Log Horizon.
Oh and God, it's not. Oh
the one
God.
thing I was
like,
yeah, they've seen both. They were like completely watched both series. And the only thing that I could sit there and justify was, are you gay?
What was their argument in that it was better? What did they like more about Sword Art Online?
It was like, okay, so they liked the immersion of the world better for Sword Art Online than they did for Log Horizon, because for them it was like too much politics, they didn't really care about the NPCs, it was just like, I just want to know what's going on with Log Horizon, and you stray away from that, you don't get too much into like what's going on with that guild, you get into like what's going on with Shiro becoming the next world god, pretty much. And so they were trying to argue, and I'm like, I'm sorry, like, you're talking about immersion. For Sword Art Online, they take their headset off. Like, what immersion is there? Like, obviously, like, they are in a game, but they get out of the game. Log Horizon, they are in the game. They are stuck in the game. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And he's like, oh, eventually it'll get to the point where they can take their headsets off and they can come out of the game. And I'm like, honestly, you want to know what's going to happen? Is I think they're just going to be like, nope, we're not leaving. We made this place our world. Where for Sword Art Online, they were like, get us out of here. We want out of here. This is all we want to do. We just want out. And I'm like, it gives
For
two
the
different...
first half of the first
Yeah.
season of Sword Art Online. Then they never want to get out.
Yeah.
Except
And I
maybe
mean-
Asuna, she's been there the whole time. But
You get the fairies, very girly, romance.
I love how
Mhm.
Log Horizon approaches its world, because the NPCs are important. The NPCs are a part of it. They're not just auxiliary thing. They're not the world. They are actual living things in the world.
They're actually people.
Yeah, and it's great.
Yeah.
And then, there's that one twist in the second half, and I'm like, yes,
Mm-hmm.
that is how you make NPCs work.
Yep.
So it's great. I mean, I can see the appeal of Sword Art Online, but the characters just wear on you over time.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're just, the Log Horizon has even some of the most auxiliary tertiary characters, like the princess.
Oh, yeah.
They still have some worth. You want to know what happens to them. And Shiro, he's such a freaking mastermind. And I
Mhm.
love that I love that idea that he's not being selfish. He's trying to help, and it's not like Lelouch or Light from Death Note, who are just masterminds who find joy in that kind of manipulation. Shiro just he wants to do very, very virtuous and righteous things, but he does it with this villain in glasses persona, and that's interesting. That makes him a complex character. So enough about Log Horizon. The one other thing I've been doing is instead of doing the game videos, I'm working on another project. It's a secret project, but let me tell you this: it has to do with /chat.
I was going
So-
to say hentai?
No,
Oh,
hentai.
I knew it.
I'm not that good of an artist. No.
So you've tried.
Whoa. What? Wait. Hentai with us? That's that.
What?
Oh my god.
That.
Is that what
Kind
you
of
said?
not.
No!
Because
The
that's what you
horrible
call hentai.
expression that crawls across Cat's face. Just-
Yeah.
Realization
You
that-
said it. You said it, Kat.
Well, you said top secret project, and the last time you had a top secret project, or top secret anything, we ended up, saying it was hentai.
Well, you said I said secret project /chat related, and you said hentai.
Well-
What are we supposed to deduce from that connection?
Rule 34. It's probably already happened. Just saying, guys.
Well, once you hit Rule 34, then you're famous. So
Yeah.
So if Kat wants /chat hentai, that's her deal. I did not do that.
The idea has
trauma.
been put forth on the internet. It's over.
Kat, this is on you. You cannot put this on me. Not this
He's
time.
right this time. He's right this time. Cat
That's one.
faced. Cat faced.
It's like, dude.
The
All over.
victory of it not being on me this time. That is a victory. Okay, that's me. Not the hentai. We're not doing hentai. No. So let's move on to someone else.
Cardinal, what have you been up to this week?
Yes, David.
What have I been up to this week? Oh, plenty of things. Obviously, lots of Minecraft. I can't not ever play that. I don't know. 2 days ago, one of my hard drives just critically failed. I lost all of my Minecraft backups for the last entirety of Minecraft. My entire Steam library with it, which that's
What?
replaceable because it downloads it.
Yeah,
A whole lot of personal documents, photos, family stuff. A little bit frustrating because it was the backup drive that fucked itself. So, lots of
Oh.
things. Yeah. It's just one of those random hardware things you can't really fix it. Like I've got 4 of the same hard drive. It's the only one that's ever had a problem. So, yeah,
It was its time. It went to hard
yeah,
drive
it-
heaven.
pretty much. Well, I sort of dragged it out of its grave and keep repairing it a little. It's very slow. I
Drag
mean,
it
it is
out.
not going anywhere until I let it.
Necromancy.
Right.
No, that would be technomancy.
Technomancy.
That would be
Oh.
technomancing, yeah.
Like,
Like,
jokes.
Like the guy from a regular show. The guy that Steve Blum.
I started binge watching anime. I watched all of Sword Art Online because everyone's like, you need to watch this, it's really good. So I watched it and I was like, this is actually pretty good. Next one is now Log Horizon because I'm told it's better. So, there we go.
Just
Who
go in
told you
order.
that?
Just go in
Who
order.
told you that Log Horizon was better than Sword Art Online? Who in the world would say that?
I don't know.
But yes, I've been asking people like all week, what should I watch next? Because anime list is not very long. So that list is gonna shoot through pretty quick, I imagine, if I keep watching at the same rate as I did Sword Art Online. One day, every episode. No sleep.
Oh,
Not at all. Play League of Legends. I don't normally play that, but my mates just like play it now and go crazy. He is far too good at the game, and I'm horrible. It just looks like he's dragging me along much of the game. I can't do shit. But that's what happens. So that's been my week, pretty much in a nutshell, with all the bad stuff tossed away from the description. Next.
Josh.
yeah, okay. Well, besides lots of work and unusual schedules and weirdness, a lot of the same. Been in a WildStar. I'm stuck in that game. That's probably going to be the one I'm sticking with for a while. It's got enough Minecraft elements in the housing thing where I went crazy with it. So now, like, out of the races and stuff you can do, there's like always tend to lean towards the more like barbaric sort of thing. So now I have a giant mead hall, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's pretty neat. At some point, I'll probably see if I can post screenshots somewhere so we can.
Do it on your Twitter account.
I can do
Yes.
that. I can do that.
Yes.
Which I
Because he
just
has
got,
one now.
Which I
Yes.
just got prior to this podcast.
Go follow
Which
him.
actually is right up here. Like, right here. I put it in the layout now.
Woo! I'm in the layout.
Ooh.
I'm
You're
in the
in
layout.
Yes.
I was wondering
Oh,
when I was
God.
gonna get a tag when I mattered.
Nah, you matter.
So besides that, and on WildStar Notes, they're actually today they released a new dev speak, of which is like the developers just talking about what's happening, of the next drop they're gonna have, which is like a big patch and new content and stuff. And they're doing a PvP oriented one, which normally I'm not even that big a fan of, but these guys are insane. Like, if you go on YouTube and look up their dev speaks, it's like the guy who is the developer who runs these things has absolutely no filter between his brain and his mouth. He just goes. So this one's called Sabotage, and it was a lot of Beastie Boys references the whole time. He couldn't stop. It was hilarious. But it's like a 15-on-15 thing where they already have this thing called war plots, because there's the Minecraft housing elements. Imagine if you had design your own base. Design it where the weapon emplacements are, where everything is. Then you dropped it next to somebody else's base. And then you both run at each other. That's what they have now. The new thing is another, it's like 15-on-15 battleground, and you can call in airstrikes on people, because it's like sci-fi fantasy, sort of. It has like a Firefly vibe, really. It's kind of like sci-fi meets West, like Old West sort of thing. It's kind of neat.
That's cool.
Sweet.
Sci-fi westerns are cool.
It's kind of like that. It's a bit,
I like
it's
that.
cartoony and funny,
Yeah.
though. But the real kicker with this one is there are bombs you can run around with. And
Uh-oh.
where the hilariousness
Sounds like
See where this is going.
the hilariousness is the bombs have friendly fire.
Oh.
There's a whole bunch of madness. What you're supposed to do is take a bomb from one side to the other and blow up the other person's like generator, like a destruction point. Take this point, blow it up. But you can do whatever you want with the bombs. So it's
Just say some people don't use them as they were originally intended.
Except that was the intent, was to cause as much madness as possible.
They tricked us. They set
Which-
y'all up.
Which
Yep.
is kind of the theme of this game. It's
All according to plan.
it's
Oh,
it's a
hey,
lot of fun.
newcomer.
We have
Ermagerd.
Jeremy. Hi,
There he is.
Jeremy.
Ciao,
That's 5
bye.
for 5.
What's up, yo?
Oh.
Hello.
How's it
Hi,
Oh, we
oh.
all lost the game.
Oh, damn it.
Son of a...
I'm a tired boy.
Really?
Well, you better wake up because you're going right after
No
Josh.
time. No time.
Apparently. Sorry, I had to be at the gym to teach at 9 in the morning, and I had to put one of the balance beams back together and kind of messed up my finger. So, that was fun.
Oh.
So, Josh, continue.
What else have I been doing? There was the WildStar stuff, and today has been like my catch-up day to catch up with everything. Finish this, finally.
Finally.
Finally. I was way behind, but I needed to catch up with it. Pleased with how it wound up. Yay for more, and looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I also just got done watching the second episode of The Strain. Yeah. We got to meet Fett, and I'm very, very happy about that. But I'll go into that a bit more because I have a whole section on TV. I also got to catch the new episode of Tokyo Ghoul, and I also went through and knocked out. I finally got caught into that Akame ga Kill, I think it's called.
Yes,
But
yes.
then again, I'm really bad with like speaking stuff that's not my own language, so I've decided to call this show Sweater Vest.
It would get
the
so
lead
many more
character-
viewers if it was named Sweater Vest.
Because the lead character is the coolest thing probably in the show, and I've like also nicknamed him the Breaker of Tropes because that's
Yeah.
all he does. But he won't ever take off that goddamn sweater vest.
No,
would've been-
there was one scene where he went fishing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So that was the one.
He's secretly Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers is a badass.
I was gonna say Mr. Rogers can carve motherfuckers up like that. I don't even know. But that's largely what I've been into. I don't think there's anything else really of note I've done. No, that's it. I'm done. Jeremy, go.
Jeremy.
Oh, what have I been doing? Well, aside from maiming, aside from maiming myself, not a whole lot. Mostly just, you know, I've been watching House on marathon run because I've run out of other things to watch on Netflix. It's not that I don't like House, it's just I'd rather actually watch it, but I need something to play while I'm playing games. Finished Dishonored. I haven't done the DLCs yet. I'll probably do those at some other point because I want to do something else now.
What do you think of Dishonored?
I liked it. It took me a little bit to get into it. I'll be honest, probably the first 45 minutes to an hour of playing it, I wasn't enjoying it all that much. But the other, well, according to Steam, I've played it for 25 hours. So, you know, apparently the other day of gameplay was good. I'm probably going to replay through BioShock just because I feel like it, and then I'm probably going to go ahead and do BioShock Infinite because it's been in my Steam thing forever. Just picked up Morrowind and Oblivion, which I've never gotten a chance to play. They were both on sale for like $5 each.
They're
So-
fun.
Awesome.
They're a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
if you
I grabbed them.
Was it the QuakeCon sale?
No, it was, well, it might have been, I don't know. It was on Steam for sale for $5 each,
Oh,
so I
yeah.
just grabbed them. Might play some Borderlands 2 if I can talk some people into it.
It's ready to go.
Cool.
Ready to go.
Let's see, what else have I been up
First
to?
game I refound after my drive fucked. First game.
I'm trying to. I've been trying to find like some sciencey stuff I can do and like show on here, but unfortunately, a lot of the science demos I know how to do either require a lot of equipment or involve things that catch on fire or explode, and I'm not doing that in my house, so I've got to figure out some way to do that. safe but fun.
Rig up a webcam outside.
Yeah.
just take his computer and just put it on like a little cart with a generator.
You're coming with me, guys. You're like, oh no, we're going to science.
We're going to science.
Science.
Look out, sky.
I had one I was planning on doing. I just didn't get around to getting materials because it's camp week at the gym. So I'm working an extra 16 hours this week, which is awesome and not awesome. It's awesome because, hey, 16 extra hours on my paycheck at $10 an hour, that's pretty nice. But, being at the gym at 9 in the morning, and then this weekend I'll have to be at the gym at 9 in the morning on Friday, and then I have stuff I have to do overnight. So I'm just basically not going to get any sleep.
Sleep when you're dead.
Yeah, apparently. I was going to try and go train me tonight because I spent quite a bit of time training other people today, but I got to the gym, and I guess for camp, my boss decided she wanted to have a section on fun. So I was teaching parkour to the teen kids.
How'd that go?
How'd that go? Yeah.
Interesting. It was interesting because some stuff they picked up that fast, and it was really nice. Other stuff, they just couldn't seem to get the concept, and it was kind of funny. I did have a couple of the older girls and one or two of the instructors working on a couple of things because the other kids goaded them into it, and it was kind of funny. But doing wall flips with people, and at first they're really nervous, so instead of them doing a wall flip, what happened was they would run up the wall, stop, and so I just basically grabbed them around the waist with my right arm and flipped them over with my left arm. So none of them weigh more than 100, 110. But when you're doing that for an hour straight and it's 80 degrees in the room, because there's no AC, it gets kind of
So what you're
exhausting.
saying is your left arm's going to get really big?
Actually, no, it's the right arm, because that's the one that was holding them up. Yeah, let's not make jokes like that, lest anyone think I'm a certain individual Raytog and I are acquainted with. That, well, I named the creeper at the gym after him for a reason.
Yeah. Oh, that pompadour.
Yeah.
Oh, is he perverting the pompadour? Pompadours are cool.
They're
No,
not
they're
cool
not.
now. They're not
Yeah.
cool now.
Bummer.
Pompadours have not been cool for quite some time.
Except in
last
anime.
The last time pompadours were cool was in the 80s. And
I didn't even know who had them in the 80s.
Egon?
Ah.
I totally didn't remember that.
Oh, Ray, Egon. I think, have I done anything else this week?
Be right back, folks.
Not really. Sanding and staining some furniture. But apparently I played 24 hours worth of Dishonored in the last week. I did not realize I played that much. And actually played some more 7 Days to Die last night. Started playing with it on creative mode.
What do you think of that game?
I like it. I really do. I've played it a
been looking for
couple
people
of
to
different
play.
ways. Yeah. I've played it a couple of different ways so far.
Yeah.
I've played it on like super hardcore, like I have the difficulty jacked all the way up, and I'm trying to find everything and absolutely no cheats enabled. I've tried building my own fortress. I've tried modifying places that were already there. Right now what I'm doing is I've got a creative project and I need to make a big hole in the ground, but it's not like, I think there is a god mode, I just haven't figured out how to turn it on yet. So instead, the way I'm digging a giant hole in the ground is by turning on the cheats and just using lots and lots of stacks of dynamite. But you can set up the dynamite and it explodes like you see charges on a building that they're demolishing, how it goes boom, 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 and it just collapses. Well, that works.
Nice.
And it's fun to do to buildings too, because since in the game, the blocks are always subject to physics. It's not like in Minecraft where they will hover. So if you have an unsupported block, it falls. And different blocks can hold different amounts of weight. So It's fun blowing the hell out of houses and stuff, especially there's a rocket launcher. So on the one mode, I just went around and tested the weapons on different surfaces to know what's the fastest way to get through this, how much punishment can this kind of wall take. And, just taking the rocket launcher to one of the little villages and blowing the daylights out of it is just hilarious, because you take out the bottom floor and, in Minecraft, you'd still have it hovering up there, and in this, it all collapses. Which is really funny to do to a building full of zombies, by the way. The biggest difference between zombies in this game and zombies in Minecraft. Well, there's a couple. One, there's a big variety. Two, they can break through anything given enough time. Not just doors and windows. So they will come through the wall. They will dig under your walls and come after you if you have it set to feral. If you have it set to normal, they don't do that as much. But if you have it set to feral, they will tunnel under your base and come up from underneath.
Or get lost down there and just make noises all fucking day.
Until eventually they hollow out enough area that your entire base just collapses into a sinkhole.
Yep.
Yeah, that happened once. Let's see, what else?
Hear the remorse there.
They can spawn in daytime, nighttime, doesn't matter. The only difference is during the day, they move slowly. At night, they run.
They are
the ones that the ones that crawl around on the ground don't show up on radar. The spider zombies can climb walls. The dog zombies always run. Then you have just your standard walkers that don't have any special things about them. And then you have the bloated ones that have like extra hit points. There's also lumberjacks, which only show up in the forest biome. They don't have quite as many hit points as the bloated, but all the zombies in the forest seem to have, the frozen areas seem to have more hit points. And the lumberjacks hit really freaking hard. Like 2 or 3 hits and you're dead. If you don't have any armor. And then there are the policeman ones, which are kind of like creepers on PCP. They spit acid at you, have lots of hit points, and if you don't kill them before they get to you, when they get to you, they go boom.
On the plus side, they drop guns.
Yeah. You have to worry about how full you are. You have to worry about your hydration, your stamina bar, and your health bar. Your health bar, how fast it regenerates, depends on how full you are, and your hydration level, or your stamina is never higher than your hydration level. You also have your smell level you have to worry about. If you're carrying around certain kinds of food, especially uncooked meat, it has a smell radius, which makes it easier for them to home in on you. You have a noise radius. Yeah. You have a noise radius that makes them home in on you. And a mechanic that seems only partially implemented, because sometimes it seems to have an effect and sometimes it doesn't. There are certain foods that give you gas.
Wow.
Smart
bar.
Like the chili, the dog food, and the cat food will give you gas, and sometimes it seems like the zombies can either hear you or smell you. I'm not sure which it is.
Maybe both.
And so, you can be stealthing along, oh man, I'm hungry, eat some chili. And you hear this sound like your stomach rumbling, and it seems like the zombies perk up a little bit when they hear that. So, yeah. So it's a lot of fun. It's just, like Minecraft, if I'm playing just on a game by myself, it kind of gets old after a while, and I have to find some way to make it interesting again. And I'm having difficulty setting up a thing to play with other people on, so that's why I went to Dishonored, and I'll probably play through Bioshock Infinite and Bioshock this week. I probably won't play through Bioshock 2 just because it annoyed me when I tried to play it the last time.
I still haven't beaten that one.
Yeah.
It's alright.
Yeah, that seems
I've already speaked out on that, so I'll save it.
I remember your rant on that one. That's why I said I'm probably just going to avoid it. Because it annoyed me in the first place, and then hearing people who have already beat it and who have played other games do it, it's like,
It's not essential.
What?
That's all I can really say. What,
What's
Cat?
the
What?
noise? There was just some awful noise. I was like, what is going on? Sorry. I have no idea what it was.
Yeah, and trying to look up stuff to talk about for the science section, and mostly I just went to stuff I already knew about and looked up what the latest research was. But I tried to find something that, you know, my fellow geeks, nerds, and dorks would be interested in.
So. Hi, guys.
Hi.
As for what I've been doing this week, a lot of sleeping. A shit ton of sleeping. Because,
How is that unusual?
well, when I wake up for 7 hours, then go back to sleep for 12, even though I previously had already slept for 15, yeah, there's so much sleeping there. Ridiculous amounts of sleeping. I actually cut back on my anime intake, which was pretty interesting. I started watching, like, mainly just, like, episodes as they aired each week, instead of going on binge sprees of, like, watching every anime I could. This new season is very interesting. There's a lot of animes that I would have never figured that I would, like, actually get into and that I would like. One being, was it Locadolls or something like that? It's the abbreviation of local and idol, and it's another one of those idol animes that I tend to, like, frown upon because they're too cute for their own good. But for some
Oh.
I have to brown nose the host some. I wish he could be around on the show.
But for some reason, like, I actually got into it, and it was really weird, because I would never have thought I would be into something like that in 1,000 years. So it's like these two local girls that are trying to be like idols, and the one girl just fails. She just fails. And she fails in like such the cute ways that it's like you kind of want to continue to root for her. So, I mean, it has its appeal, and then of course it has the other character who is like the know-it-all, big boobs, blonde, that is just like, I'm here to steal the spotlight, and not really. She's like very timid. It's interesting. It's weird. But it was actually the first like idol show that I was into, and for some reason at one point last week someone left me a message on my YouTube about Love Live, or Love Live rather.
I saw that. It was less a message, more of a exclamation.
Saying that it had a total of like 25 exclamation points in it. Yeah.
You counted? I didn't.
It was like, love live is love, love live, love something. It was like interesting, and I was like, yeah. So apparently at some point, just to appease my audience, I'm going to watch Love Live, just for the hell of it. That's on currently the very bottom of my queue list for Crunchyroll though, so very bottom. So yeah, I actually just today watched the 3rd episode of Akame ga Kill, the 3rd episode of Sword Art Online, which, oh dear god, okay, so for the new season, it's so freaking slow, like, it's just, yeah, so, like, you get this new character who apparently has this huge traumatizing history in the past, and the reason she's playing Gun Gale is to get over the fact that she's had this traumatizing experience. That's great, that's dandy, okay, that's some sort of character development, that's awesome. But the character that we've been following since the very beginning of Season 1 hasn't even logged into the game yet. And it's like, why? Why? And then it's going to be another thing where Asuna gets kind of thrown to the back burner, because she's there, but not there. So, like, you see her interaction with Kirito and, like, talking and being like, we love each other, blah, 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 our relationship is great. And then he's like, I'm gonna go play this other game, okay, thanks, bye. And that's it.
Why build up a relationship that much when she's not gonna be there for, like, 3/4 of the entire frickin' franchise?
Because you got to build the harem, yo.
Oh, yeah. It's so
What is this
weird
doing?
because they established in the first, barely like a quarter through the series, that they are the canon couple.
Yep.
And then we got all these other girls that he's not interested in. And if there's no way for him to be interested in them at all, then their place, then why build a harem?
Right.
Well, it's Japan. Because Japan. Really, that's the best reason I can give you for that. It's part of the genre, and it's not trying to break the group like Kami ga Kill is.
Yeah.
No.
But I actually think, like, on Sword Art Online, that one character is, like, the first thing that I'm seeing in this new season that is actually kind of cool, because Sword Art Online's shtick has always been, or at least the underlying theme of it has always been, this is how real people interact in the digital world.
Right.
That's, like,
Yeah.
overall, that's really what it is. And the fact that it's somebody who's actually terrified of guns, but her online persona is the super gun expert sniper person, it's kind of cool in seeing, like, how many people have you met online who acted like a super awesome badass, and in real life were way not.
Right.
That's kind of cool in making a character, like, less of a cool, her. But I just think that's neat, like, giving characters weaknesses that is kind of similar to something that could happen in real life. That's kind of neat.
So,
Yeah.
so like, yeah, the focus of this new season is primarily, like, from what I've seen, about her. Which is, I mean, good, because then we're opening up for more character and more character development other than just the two characters we saw in the beginning. That's great, that's fine. But where are our previous characters? Like, So it's starting to really irritate me. I'm gonna watch it because, well, I still do enjoy it, but it's still frustrating as all hell to be there and be like, okay, when are we gonna see, like, this female version of Kirito come into play? Because that's essentially what he is in the new game. So, but yeah.
I think it gets even worse in the game after this one, but I don't have any confirmation of that. He just keeps slipping down the hill and getting more and more feminine. And it gets funnier every time.
He was
I
a
know.
Mary Sue from the start,
Yeah.
and now it's like, let's just we know he's a Mary Sue. Let's just do this.
Well,
Save
then
resolves
again,
the trouble.
well, it's not like you can't like Mary Sue's. I mean, when you really get down to it, the biggest Mary Sue that I've ever seen in my life is Batman.
Yeah.
Totally, like, he's good at everything.
Speaking
He can do everything. Oh, what?
Uh-oh.
Speaking of, tomorrow is Batman Day.
What?
It's
Why
the
did I not know about
75th,
this?
What is
75th,
Batman?
75th anniversary of Batman
That's the
Tomorrow
day. They've been getting ready for that for a long
is
time.
Batman Day.
Yeah. That's
I
cool.
thought I
So-
thought Batman Day was just like a made-up day, but it's celebrating something real. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. A lot of the local comic book shops towards Pittsburgh are doing like 25% off all Batman merchandise. You come in with something Batman on, you get even more of a discount. Some place that I found, because I
We're
got
doing
like
this.
tons
I
of
got Batman
emails.
stuff.
Do hockey pads count?
He's not wearing
hockey,
hockey
hockey pants like he has in Arkham Oranges. Yes, I said oranges.
I don't like that game.
But yeah,
I'm one
like-
of the minority, but I like that game.
For people who are currently watching, you have to go look at your local area and see if they're doing any sort of promotions for Batman Day, because this is
Just
the
go into
75th
the
anniversary.
Go into the store and just start doing the Bat 2C. That's all you
Oh
gotta do.
jeez.
That's
They
all you
were
gotta
doing,
do.
like, one place, Phantom in the Attic was doing a costume contest. And they're doing, I guess, like, certain prizes, like they're giving away new editions of new Batman comics, stuff like that. Just stuff that's, like, really just Batman-oriented, so pretty interesting. So, speaking of Batman.
Well, it's kind of a big thing. Like, think about how long ago 75 years was.
Yeah.
Batman has almost been around 100 years.
Yep.
Like, 75
That's
years ago was
crazy.
like War of the Worlds, the radio one. Like, what was it? Like,
It's like in the 40s. It's like in
Was
like
it
World War II era.
World War II. Batman predates World War II. Like, the average price.
1939.
The average price of
It
a
was
car
in-
was $700. Yeah,
Oh,
like
God.
I know a place where you can get a car for $700 now. You just don't want it.
yeah.
Exactly. It probably doesn't run.
Oh, it might run. You just might get in trouble if you get pulled over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there are some disreputable people in this area.
At least Batman's better than Superman. I don't care.
No, dear God, don't get me started.
Don't start that.
Well, we're all gonna see when the new movie comes out. Well,
I may not go see that one.
Most people
Yeah, I'm
aren't
like-
going to see that one.
Because I'll be honest, after Daredevil, I really don't want to see Ben Affleck in another. You know,
We've had this discussion before. I'm
he
gonna
might
leave
surprise me. He might surprise me,
There's
but
that.
I doubt it.
We'll see. Apparently, he's ripped as hell, is one thing. And also, there's the Heath Ledger thing.
Yeah.
He got cast as Joker, and everyone was like, the hell is this guy gonna do? What was he in? Like,
Brokeback Mountain.
Brokeback Mountain, and A Knight's Tale. And people
Yeah.
were like,
And 7 things I hit, or what was it? 7
Yeah.
or 10 things I hit.
10.
and
Ten.
things that-
I mean, he'd been in a lot of stuff, and I was just kind of like, really? I'm not too sure about this. And then the first preview came out, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this will work.
yeah.
I
When
think
the
that-
new trailer
yeah.
hasn't happened yet, so waiting for that.
Yeah.
I think that Heath Ledger's performance, some people say that his publicity went up as that performance because he died afterward. I think that's completely doing him a disservice because his Joker was good.
Well,
It was fucking amazing.
both of those things. His popularity did skyrocket because of that, but that shouldn't take away from how good.
Yeah,
he was.
You don't want to devalue his performance because
It kind of
What
gave
about
him.
magic trick?
It kind of gave him the Brandon Lee syndrome a little bit. Since
Oh,
we were
yeah.
talking about the Bro last week.
uh-huh.
You mean the Bruce Lee syndrome?
Yeah. That all, well,
Because that wasn't
Good family.
fishy at all.
thing going on with that family. But I'm gonna wait to see how that goes. But yeah, Batman. His comics right now are actually really decent too. They're jumping into new stuff, and comic books are doing new things in general. But
Yeah.
we'll talk about that later.
So I have to shamelessly promote something because I am shamelessly promoting something. So, seeing that mostly everyone, especially from last week, has known that I've gotten into Smite, I also got on a team.
Oh dear.
Cool.
Oh, you going pro?
That's what they're trying to do.
Oh God, she's gonna be a pro gamer.
So, we'll see how well that actually plays out. But anywho, they're called In Charge, and on my latest
large?
YouTube,
Are they large?
No, but they are in charge apparently.
Right.
Yep. But on my latest YouTube video, I did like a post to their like team profile stuff, and like my name's at the last of the list, which is awesome. But still, my name's there. So yeah, so I have to shamelessly promote them now because I'm part of their team, and if I can get shamelessly promoting them, then I shamelessly promote me. So yay, win-win.
I mean, I can shamelessly promote when we get to my section.
So
I'm
yeah.
going to be starting up 2 Kickstarters that I have to shamelessly promote. So.
Yep. Yeah, this will just become /chat the shamelessly promoted.
It sounds like a White Wolf game. You put like the colon in there.
But yeah,
Gamers
so
is shamelessly promoted.
Oh,
yeah, that's what's been pretty much going on is very little of watching anime, watching a lot of new stuff, playing
Lots.
Smite, and sleeping a shit ton. So yeah. Yep. So, we're going into the news part of our /chat programming. Yay!
I know exactly what you're doing.
Thank you for that.
The news comes first.
So, what we'll try and do is hit 15 minutes for each person, seeing that we have all 5 of our hosts today. So,
Yeah.
woo! So hopefully we can get 15 minutes of each person. Hopefully. So, Alex, start us off. Gaming.
There is one story that I want to talk about that I think would get a good discussion out of us, and it's really the only story that I have on hand right now. So I'd rather get that started, start that off just so we have enough time to talk about it. A while ago, the guys behind the Yogscast show put up a Kickstarter for a video game with their characters, with them, called Yog Ventures.
Oh
Yeah.
god.
And the game got funded. Well, actually.
Pretty quickly, too.
And so after it got funded, a while passed, and just recently, the entire Kickstarter got canceled. It was cited to be that the guys who were going to be making the game didn't have enough of the manpower to, there was like 6 people on this team to make the entire game. Now, there are 2 things that are most important about this. Well, actually 3, but one of them. This was funded. The people contributed their money, and this entire thing just got canceled just because the Yogscast team were unprepared. And they are not returning the money that they earned to the backers. They are going to try and reimburse them with a free game of whatever that is, but the money is not going back to the people.
Huh.
Now,
Oh, so this is after the whole Kickstarter thing was passed and they gave them money.
this is after it was funded and it was said to be in production, but basically they
Yeah.
said, we can't do this, we were unprepared, and when people said, hey, can we have our money back then if you're not going to deliver? And they said, we can't do that. Now the problem is, I understand the workings of Kickstarter. You are not paying for a product, you're paying for a promise.
Yeah.
And they are not obligated to give you anything because you are funding it. So you can tell that people were upset by this because it was completely on them that it didn't get funded. It was not the people; they were not low on money. It had nothing to do with that. But they just they said it's out of our hands, and the fact that they're not giving the money back is one thing. So this is kind of throwing into the whole crowdfunding mistrust of using Kickstarter. And some people put up Kickstarters that are fake, or Kickstarters. Like I remember seeing a Kickstarter, and I'm not kidding. Someone put up a Kickstarter to make Half-Life 3.
Ha!
Now, obviously,
Valve can't count to 3. Come on.
I know. Obviously, this was not real. This was basically someone saying, Valve, just make the game already. And of course that did nothing. It eventually just went down, like maybe a few hours after it went up. But the thing that Kickstarter is a gamble, and and I've never contributed to a Kickstarter. And I kind of weird bringing this up because Jeremy is going to be promoting his 2 Kickstarters. But the thing is with the Yog Ventures cast, and this is something that a lot of people seem to be overlooking, is that normally when you hear something fake or a failed Kickstarter or something that was unreputable, it's just some strangers doing something. And note, this happened after the whole potato salad Kickstarter.
Don't get me started on that.
Yeah, I'm going to discuss it for people who don't know. A guy put up a Kickstarter wanting $10 to make potato salad. He ended up getting thousands of dollars.
Like
Like,
50.
yeah.
And the thing is, the thing with that is that he didn't ask for all that money, and
People are just...
he clearly didn't intend to get that much money. And people were saying, you have all this money, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to donate to charity? And he heavily implied that he would, which is the right thing to do. But the thing with this Yog Ventures one is that this isn't some stranger making a random game. These guys have a pretty big presence in the gaming community, and having even someone with this a group with this good of a reputation, this group that is widely respected by gamers, do something like this shows that it doesn't matter how good of a public image you have in the culture, you can still fuck up.
Oh yeah.
And that's really what discourages me the most about it. Is like we have these reputable figures who are still, in a way, using Kickstarter pretty irresponsibly. I mean, they have no intention to rip people off, but they were unprepared. So the whole discussion is like, there's no one really safe to trust on Kickstarter now. Even when you have these guys who have thousands of followers on their YouTube channel and are always putting out content, just completely use Kickstarter, okay, maybe not irresponsibly, but in a very amateur and uneducated way, I'd say. So I kind of wanted to hear what everyone had to say about that. Maybe Kickstarter in general.
Well-
In the chat window, I kind of posted a comic that kind of says exactly what
Oh,
we were
Penny
saying.
Arcade, right?
Yeah.
Penny Arcade knows everything.
Yes, yes, they do. Hi, I'm John Video Games. That's how the comic starts. It's a guy claiming his name is John Video Games and that he invented video games in the 70s.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Anyone can start a Kickstarter, and I remember there was a Kickstarter someone made to make a card game, a kind of sort of a card game, sort of like Magic, and a fully original game. The person got their stuff funded, and then they cut the Kickstarter because, and I'm not kidding, because they were hearing voices in their head telling them to do it.
Very strange.
Now, as you can expect, the people who supported this Kickstarter were not happy with this. And the creator of the Kickstarter, instead of, communicating thoroughly with the backers, pretty much talked about these characters in their head and what's going on there. So we know that Kickstarter is not foolproof. For every success, there's been hundreds of wrong ones.
Yeah. I thought if you offered rewards for different levels, you had to at least, there was some legal obligation to follow through on the rewards that you promised for the different backer levels.
I do believe that's true. I mean, I'm not too... and the thing is, I've never done Kickstarter, and after this Yog Ventures thing, I have no plan to do it. At least not games,
Yeah.
I would,
Neither of mine involve games, so...
I know, the thing... And the thing with you, Jeremy, I mean, we know you're reputable, because, we know you. So...
But that's really the thing, I think, is just like everything else, you're going to spend money on the internet, you're taking a risk. Everyone knows it.
Well,
if you're going to spend money on the internet, make sure who you're sending it to is reputable.
yeah.
And Kickstarter or anything else, that's the rule I follow.
Yep.
I mean, I backed precisely one Kickstarter. No, wait, I did two. I did there was one for Reading Rainbow a while back, and I also backed one for Castle Blood. Because they just moved into a new place. There was a change in management of the city, and there were some shady dealings that went down as far as the city government went, and so they kind of lost the place they were in.
If you're unfamiliar, Castle Blood is a haunted house.
Yeah. I was going to get it in a second. So the city did that to them, but then sold them this 100-year-old funeral home for like $1. So it was really weird, really something screwy went on somewhere, but I don't know whether it was the last administration, this administration, or both of them, or what. But anyway, they got a new place, and they needed money to get the place up to code so they could actually open this year. And so they decided to just try doing a Kickstarter. And, I mean, I've known Ricky, the guy who owns the place, for more than 10 years. So, obviously, I feel comfortable, throwing money at him. I think for games in general, I don't think Kickstarter's good for games in a way, because there are a lot of games that have gotten up and going. Well, let's talk about 7 Days to Die earlier. Wasn't that Kickstarted? I think it was.
So, yeah.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
There's a lot of good games that were.
So a lot of games get produced that wouldn't get produced otherwise. But by the same token, I think with games you're taking a much, much bigger risk. I I mean, I'm not going to go into my spiel about what mine are going to be yet, but one of them is to help fund a new program we're starting at the gym. You know, and people get rewards out of it, but beyond that, you know, I'm not producing a video. And the other one is I'm trying to. So, I mean, those are a little, you know, it's a little different.
Yeah, yours is, if you're going to be starting a program at the gym, that's a lot different because the people who are going to support it to help them are local people. So you have a much
not
closer...
always.
Well,
like Castle Blood, a lot of their money actually came from Canada of all places. Like one of their reward levels is if you got a certain level, in their mausoleum, they'll etch your name onto one of the tombstones.
Oh, that's cool.
So
That's pretty cool.
there was a haunt convention up in Canada where they donated, you know, they passed a hat around and donated money, and they sent it in, and they funded Kickstarter. And Ricky was like, who do I, you know, put on the tombstone? There's like 100 people chipped in. What do I put on the tombstone? And they came up with the idea of just put the Anida family. First initial C.
What's the first name? What's the first name?
No, the first name's just an initial. C. Anida.
Actually, I know. Like,
Anida.
what's the first name should be something that starts with C.
I don't know.
Beautiful.
Cookie.
Carl. Cookie.
Oh, I like
Every time someone says C is for something, I hear the Cookie Monster talking.
Cookie Anida.
But yeah, Kickstarter, I really like the concept behind it because I've got, well, let's see, Shadowrun Returns, that was a Kickstarter. And like we just said, 7 Days to Die, I've got a couple of games that were Kickstarted. And, you know, I'll probably have a couple more by the end of the year. And those games wouldn't have existed without Kickstarter. But by the same token, there's a lot of stupid stuff on there. Like people giving some guy $50,000 for potato salad. That's not on him, because he wasn't planning on that.
And he just went $10.
But seriously, who sees that this Kickstarter already has $40,000 for potato salad and says,
And then gives
I'm
them
going to contribute
more.
to that?
It was just this little, it was a viral situation, and it just took off, and the more and more news sites
I know,
that covered it.
but people
No,
are...
I'm agreeing with you. I'm completely agreeing with you. It's crazy. Now, a few other... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, it kind of makes me a little nervous that I'm getting ready to start to if something like that just happened because, you know, like you said, people aren't going to have as much trust in the system now because, it, you know, somebody who's reputable, who has, I'm assuming, a rather large following. I actually have no clue who you were talking about, but, you know, I'm assuming they have a rather large following, and they just dropped the ball.
That's the nature of crowdfunding, is that you really don't know what's going to happen. Now, a few things I learned about this is that, first of all, and this is a big fault on Yogscast, they paid the artist to work on the game before the artist finished the work.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's just a faux pas in general. Second, I found out that there was one person who did donate $10,000 to this. If you donated that much money, I mean, you know, you're taking a huge risk, but at the same time, Yogscast should probably do something about that for you.
Hell yeah.
And I do agree that...
serve them for life if you give me $10,000?
I mean, it's I mean, the guy, I don't know why you'd do $10,000 for anything. Now, I agree with the Reading Rainbow thing, because that was incredibly successful. It got funded extremely quickly, and it's
Reading Rainbow's awesome.
Yeah.
So is LeVar Burton.
And yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Burton
I
was always
love
one of my
how
favorite characters.
I
so.
love how in the trailer for the Kickstarter he says you could wear one of these, and he takes out the Yori visor. That's just, he's so in on that joke. And I think Kickstarter has produced good things. And I think the start for crowdfunding in a gaming environment was kind of pioneered by Tim Schafer, the guy who made all those classic LucasArts adventure games. He made Synchro Monkey Island, Day of the Tentacle, Maniac Mansion. He made Psychonauts, Brutal Legend, and he's great at it. I mean,
Brutal Legend.
Brutal Legend as a game, it was but oh my god, was it funny.
Totally worth it.
It was really, I love that kind of
Maniac Mansion. Yeah, that game was.
and he sort of got the train rolling as far as, people having the people fund their games. And I've seen some really great Kickstarter games. I mean, I haven't contributed them myself, but I have reviewed games for Hardcore Gamer that were Kickstarted, and one of them that I highly recommend is called The Fall. It's sort of a mix of Metroid with sort of point-and-click puzzle games. It's on Steam. I'm kind of plugging it here, but I played it. It was made by Over the Moon Games, and they got it funded on Kickstarter. And because they got more money than I expected, they added stretch goals, and they were able to put in real voice acting. They were able to partially invest the next, because this was a serial game, this came in episodes. They were able to invest the next episode, and it turned out great. It was a great game. But at the same time, there are other crowdfunding efforts that were just bad. I mean, and that's also the problem with like Steam Early Access. They're kind of together because you are never guaranteed anything, really.
By the way, this is depressing. Very depressing.
Uh-oh.
Potato Salad. 6,336 backers. Pledged so far is $61,457 with 10 days to go.
Yeah, I was going to say 6,000 seems low. But
61,457.
Means you needed to learn how to cook. Could make money.
Well, the newest stretch goal for this is he's inviting the entire internet to come see the making of the potato salad. Like, he's renting a giant hall. I will rent out a party hall and invite the whole internet to my potato salad party. The internet loves potato salad. Let's show them that potato salad loves the internet.
Maybe I should kickstart my one restaurant idea.
Besides fun,
Yeah.
it has to be called Science exclamation point.
Yeah, this is the same kind of situation where at first you're like, oh, this is funny. I mean, he's getting all this, and then it reaches the point where you're like, okay, guy, you need to stop. This isn't really funny anymore.
There's like articles like just Googling. He's like now doing like how to start a Kickstarter, when to start Kickstarter, all this theory crafting that's behind the fact that he made this joke Kickstarter.
He didn't do anything.
That's like, it's like, okay, at first it was a joke, and then now like more and more people are taking it so seriously that he's now taking it so seriously. And he's done like
so serious.
He's doing like these news articles and talking to business companies about how to like properly like advertise and what to do, and he was like,
This
yes,
guy made
it
his
was
whole career off a joke.
Yep.
Off a
Oh,
joke
yeah.
that went the way he wanted it to once.
Yep.
You know what they say? If you can't baffle them with brilliance, befuddle them with bullshit.
Yep.
That's definitely what he did.
So
I mean, that blows my mind that he's trying to educate people in how to make their Kickstarter successful, even though he started a joke, and all of his success were from people who just
Here's the thing.
let it happen.
Here's what he's doing. He's trying to teach people. He's educating them on how to fall up the stairs.
Yeah.
Stupid people will listen to anything if you're successful. That's the thing. He got successful randomly, and stupid people are like, how'd you do it? And if he just went like, tater salad, then no one's gonna do anything. But he's like, I can make money off this, and they're gonna believe anything I say. So he's doing stuff now.
But also, if he just said tater salad, he might get in trouble with Ron White.
There's that, but that's kind of where I was going with that.
Tater salad.
I think the only way that he can redeem himself for this whole stunt is if he takes a huge huge majority of that money and just puts it directly into a charity for hunger, against hunger. And while he said that he's going to do,
Charity for hunger. So feed the world with potato salad.
just take all that
That
money,
should be the next.
make a-
They should do it.
How much potato salad could you make with like 30 grand?
A
well,
shit ton.
he should make
There's
it
your
just
science
a
segment right
metric
there.
amount
Find
of
out.
potato salad.
I hate potato salad. I am not calculating that.
Just this barge loaded from stem to stern with potato salad and send it over to Africa. And just spread the message of potato salad across the entire continent.
It's
Okay,
gonna
you
turn into
realize
a Pastafarian
that
thing, isn't it?
would be-
Potato salad will save the world.
You realize that would be a barge of salmonella, right?
Yes.
Well,
That we're sending to
he should
Africa.
use the money to
Why?
find a way to. Okay, cans of potato salad.
Can
But
you
he-
can potato salad?
I don't know.
I don't know.
You
He
can
should just
Tupperware.
Can it doesn't mean it's gonna be good.
the harbinger, the messiah of potato salad. Just this savior with
It's
his
gonna be a Pastafarian
giant-
thing. It's gonna be
giant
a
staff with a whisk at the end, and he would just, I will give you my potato salad,
the
my
high priest. Potato-
and just have a shirt that says tater salad.
the potato pope.
Get Ron White.
Potato Pope.
He could have a little logo underneath
Segment
that
name
says,
right there.
"You
Segment name.
shall not fast."
Oh, that's so bad.
he should just in a robe with tater salad on the front, with his whisk staff, riding upon his giant barge full of cans of potato salad. You will never go hungry again.
Continue onward, internet. I
That
have
would
to
be
go through the
worth
box.
$60,000.
No, it wouldn't.
Yeah, that'd be cool to see. So that's
Okay,
kind
so-
of the whole the game thing is, it's just Kickstarter. So
So,
I
so
think
while
this is
we're
like
on
that.
weird and interesting news, I think we should send this over to Carthnell to figure out what's been going on in Australia this week.
Potato salad?
Actually, that's been going around a lot on our station. They're like, how is this guy making money from potato salad? It's
Because
baffled
people
a
are
lot of
dumb.
Potato salad Pope. This would be the name of this episode.
Oh
All right, Carthnell,
Um,
what do you got going on in Australia?
no. Well, we had something a little bit amazing, one of those things that, oh god, it could have been worse, but somehow something, it's good. We had up near Queensland school bus kind of like exploded and lit on fire, and all the kids escaped perfectly fine, which was crazy. Like the
What
pictures
the
of
hell,
this thing.
Australia?
Yeah. But like the pictures of the bus is completely engulfed in flames. Nobody hurt. At all. So I thought it was kind of amazing. You don't see it every day. When something really bad happens, you usually expect something really bad to happen. So
Right.
it's kind of cool. But yeah, so like a few things like that, not much else big. There's been a lot of international news coming through because we haven't had much of our own. The whole flight in whatever it is got shot down. they're
Oh,
sending some out.
Malaysia Airlines.
Yep.
They're
I've heard a lot
sending
about
in
that.
a lot of a bunch of our forensic scientists to go in and take over. So there's that. Not terribly much extra to really go in about. It's been a very slow news week. So it's been all about stuff that you guys probably all know about. So it's not really Australian news. But yeah, that was probably the most important thing. Was the school bus exploded? They escaped fine. Which
That's
is
really
also kind of amazing.
Why did it
Yeah.
explode, or do they not know yet?
They don't actually know.
Why did I explode?
I can have a look for it. People are like, yeah, the line is, we are investigating the cause, but it is still a bit of a mystery because the bus is a very new bus. Yeah.
Now,
Wheels on the bus go boom boom.
That's Firestone.
before we start the
Yeah.
next section, can I announce something game-related? Unless it would be
Yes,
in poor
you
taste to
can.
interrupt Carthnell's story about a bus exploding.
Yep.
Well,
I
Um,
can show pictures, but
Well, no. The new Humble Bundle came out, the Square Enix bundle.
Oh,
It's not what you think.
Not what you
The
think.
base games are Thief Gold, Mini Ninjas, Anachronox, Hitman Codename 47, Hitman 2 Silent Assassin, and I shit you not, Daikatana. That's the base one. If you pay more than the average, which is currently $6.43, you get Deus Ex Invisible War, Deus Ex The Fall, Hitman Absolution, the Nosgoth Veteran Pack, Battle Stations Midway, and more games. If you pay $15 or more, you get Deus Ex Human Revolution Director's Cut, Just Cause 2, which I do recommend, Lara Croft and the Guardian of Light, Deus Ex Game of the Year Edition, and Kane and Lynch 2 Dog Days.
I have to
Now that sounds like a lot.
I have to rant on Nosgoth a lot because
But
I don't think it's still in beta, I think, or maybe they released it or not. But I'm a big Legacy of Kain fan, which is where that comes from in the first place.
Right.
And that's largely this game is the multiplayer that they had developed for an unreleased actual Legacy of Kain game. So that's what it is. If you like Legacy of Kain, there's very little reason to actually play this game. Because there's no plot, there's no story at all, and the whole point of the Legacy of Kain franchise was this big sweeping vampire drama of like time travel and betrayal and like all this super awesome plot with amazing voice acting and all this crazy stuff. Yeah, it's a random third-person shooter.
I'm
with
just
no story.
It just feels like that's Square Enix.
Yeah.
Like, why? I know they're all Square Enix games, but when you think Square Enix, you don't really think of Daikatana.
Well,
Why in the world are they selling
that? Is Final Fantasy, and they're not gonna do that.
I know, even though they are on PC, and I'm like, I mean, a lot of the games that I'm really interested in this bundle, I already own in one way or another, like the Deus Ex games or Just Cause 2. I'm just, like, this is really underwhelming. I mean, it's a lot of games, and it's a good deal if you like them, but Daikatana and Kane and Lynch 2?
Speaking of Square Enix, they're getting in like hot water with fans recently, from what I understand, over a translation modder.
Really?
Anyone heard about that?
No.
I forget which one of the new Final Fantasies it is. Let me see if I can look it up. But it's one of the fun. No, it's something that's only released in Japan at this point.
Oh.
Forget what it is, but somebody was making a. It's just a mod for the game, which is a English and a couple other languages translation. So you could, play the game, get a story. Square Enix slapped them with a cease and desist order, like immediately. So they had to shut the whole thing down. I believe this is actually another Kickstarter project. And they're under a lot of heat for that because, on one hand, I kind of understand it. On the other hand, it's like everyone's kind of pissed off about it.
Yeah.
Because
Square has been in a lot of hot water along with Capcom these days. They're just getting a lot of backlash. And I'm not going to say anything else just because I think I kind of interrupted the flow here, but
well,
I'll listen to what everyone else has to say.
The one and only other piece of news that made any importance here was we had a carbon tax that came in a couple of years ago. As of 3 or 4 days ago, they just completely abolished it and went, fuck it, it's causing people to have to pay too much money because energy companies over here kind of asses and just went, alright, carbon tax, jack up the prices like 200%.
Yeah.
So they basically just said, alright, we'll abolish it as long as such corporations lower their prices, and that passed. It went through the votes and passed yesterday, actually. So yeah. We're now one of the few countries that no longer has a carbon tax on like the industries that just produce far too much emissions and whatnot. So basically just means let loose on the destroying the environment, so to speak. But everything else Australia-wise has just been like what's happening with MH17 and all that stuff. Apparently, we've been given complete and total access to the site, so we get to do our own surveys and studies and research and
Nice.
forensics and everything. Yep, and our guys are good at that, so we'll find out what happened
Not
for the
bad.
rest of the world. Yeah. But yeah, nothing else of importance at all.
Next. What's next?
So, Jeremy, do you have anything in the random news category? Or in the
Uh,
science category?
Random science.
Nothing that I've seen too much lately. I mean, like I said, I've been kind of busy this week, so I haven't paid attention to too much. The thing I found that was interesting that I was going to talk about for a little bit was, I guess the best thing to call them would be adaptive materials. You've got one category with a new piezoelectric composite, and the other being memory alloys. What a piezoelectric composite basically does is when you run a current through it, and I actually have to pull up my screen here so I can you see my hands where they're at all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. When you run a current through it, you can alter the shape of it. So for like an airplane wing, NASA's been experimenting with it in a couple of other universities. Where basically instead of having like the ailerons and everything, the flaps on the wings, the
Actually,
wings are just one solid piece, and you run a current through it and the wing bends. And so they've actually been making like little remote control planes that the only way they move is they have a drive system that's not a vectored thrust or anything, and then they just alter the surface by running different currents through it.
That's neat.
It's really cool.
When I was
That's
in
getting into the Batman
college-
territory there, man.
Yeah, seriously. Speaking of Batman, when I was in college the first time, I did a lot of work with something called SMAs, or shape memory alloys. Now, most metal alloys, have a solid form, they have a liquid form, they might even have a gas form. Once you go from gas to plasma, you can't have compounds anymore. So usually at most they have 3 states. Memory alloys have an extra solid state. So what happens is when you change their temperature beyond a certain threshold, they'll change shape. Stuff like that, like a bimetallic strip, is kind of how like some thermostats work. So what you get, what I did anyway, is I had these wires that were woven into a chainmail lattice, and they were making an artificial muscle. When you ran current through it, it contracted. Well, they found some polymers that work better, so that research is useless. But something they're really starting to use a lot of memory alloys for are human implants. The first one that came out was, do any of you know what a stent is? Everyone here is pretty young, so you might not know what one of those is. Okay, right now, the way most stents work is it's this little cage made out of stainless steel on the end of a balloon. And they run that through your veins or your arteries and find one that's clogged, and then they inflate the balloon, the cage expands, locks in place, and then that keeps that part of your artery open, so blood can get through. Well, there's some issues with it. One, they have to open it wider than what it's actually going to relax to, so it puts stress on that vessel wall, and so you can get a bleed. There's some complications involved. With the memory alloy, what you can do is it's in the end of a tube that's got some cooled saline solution that keeps it below a certain temperature. You get it into the right spot in the vessel, and you let it out of the cooled solution. Once it gets in there, it heats up, and it expands to the right size with no difference in shape. The new thing that it looks like they're doing, and the easiest one you can find out about, is called Smart Toe. Basically, it's an implant used to correct things like hammer toe, claw toe, and mallet toe deformities. And essentially, it's a piece of memory alloy that, when it's in its cooled shape, it is longer and thinner. And the way they attach it in, if it were to get wider but shorter, it would pull the bones together and help to slowly correct it with a constant small amount of force that would be provided by the body's own temperature. And so they put this memory alloy in, it gets wider, which locks it in place, but then it grows shorter, which pulls everything into alignment. And they're starting to work on using this for spines and pretty much every bone in the human body. Because currently what they do is they use a K-wire, which has a significant risk of infection. It's painful. You know, it's not a pleasant method for healing it. It's just right now, without the memory alloys, your choices are the K-wire, which is, you know, pretty much wiring the bone together, and it's not a major
like
surgery, but it's not a minor surgery either. The other option is your bones get fused together.
Yeah.
So neither of those options are very good, and they're starting to work on rehabilitating like full joint segments, like for the spine, hips, things that traditionally are kind of difficult. Like I know my dad has steel titanium rods going through his spine to hold it together because they've had to fuse and take out so many discs, and that's the only option right now. But now it looks like they're working on something that could actually help repair the damage instead of just replacing it with metal. So that's interesting. That's about all I've got because I haven't really had time to look too much into stuff.
I'll still say, like, over this segment, like, every other segment, people are talking all through it. This one, people just shut up and listen.
I mean, hey, you were talking about Batman, so I thought it would be appropriate to pull out some stuff that sounds like it's out of a, you know, freaking comic book.
Well, I was gonna
I mean,
say that's like
you know,
directly out of like the movie with the whole memory cloth thing. When you run a current through it, it takes this particular shape. This is like sci-fi becoming actual technology used.
I mean,
that's like Wayne Tech stuff.
Yeah, I mean, memory alloys have been around for a long time. The advantage, the primary one they're using for all this is an alloy called nitinol. It's a nickel titanium alloy, and oddly enough, even though it has nickel in it, people who have nickel allergies can a lot of times still get these implants.
Really?
Like, for some reason, it being bonded to the titanium keeps it from causing any issues. And that in and of itself is an interesting little thing that someone should probably research. You can remember to tell that one person who's going for chemical engineering to check into that. She made the mistake of asking a research nerd for ideas for her senior project. So,
whoops, best mistake ever.
So I've got an email like this long of a bunch of stuff that I've got to send to her at some point. So yeah, I don't have a whole lot for news on that front because, like I said, I've been really busy and I've got 2 Kickstarters I'm trying to get stuff together for. The one for me doing the blacksmithing shop is going to come together a little faster because that just involves me. The one for the gym is taking a while because I had people who were originally supposed to do certain things and they haven't been available to do it, so I'm kind of having to do everything myself, and it
sucks.
Yeah, well, Raytalk, you know this one. It's not like I'm not used to that kind of thing happening. Haunted house, what?
Yeah, there was that. And how many hours straight did you work on it that one time?
There was that one year where Chick kind of left in the middle of a build and nothing was done. And we had about 2.5 to 3 months before opening day and nothing had been done. So I put in at least 100 hours a week every week for those 3 months. Yeah. I was tired.
Really? Why is that?
Oh, don't worry. He took it out on the patrons. It worked out good.
Yeah, wasn't that around the time Mr. Chapman started showing up?
That was about then, yeah.
Yeah, so that was about when the Psychotic Viking and Jack the Ripper started showing up. I wonder why that is. Me chasing people around with... It was funny, I was chasing people around with what looked like a giant machete. It was actually a rib from a cow. So they thought I had a weapon. I was just running around with a bone. And then, of course, when they realized what it was, I would say the truly horrible pun of, back here, I've got a bone to pick with you.
There were lots of puns in that house. It was bad. It was good, but it was bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Saying that pun, I think that's what gave me diabetes.
So going into some horrible horror-esque thingies, I think we should give this back over to Raytog to talk about.
We keep breaking Kat's flow on her cats.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I've been timing it. We're good.
You've been quiet. I've seen you messing with your phone.
I've actually been timing this pretty properly.
Okay. Well, as far as
Let's hear what you got.
as
TV.
far as TV stuff goes, I have not been following a whole lot, but like right as we were setting up for this podcast, I finished watching the episode 2 of The Strain. I'm in. This is really, really good.
I know the books are good.
Mm-hmm. Kat should never ever watch this unless she's feeling particularly adventurous
And extremely drunk.
and extremely drunk.
And if she doesn't plan to sleep that night.
Yeah.
Right?
Probably that too. But with all the sleep she's been having, maybe she can make up for it. We're running into, like, this episode let us run into probably my favorite character in this whole thing, which was Fett. And Jeremy, you've read these books, right?
Uh-huh. The Exterminator.
How many people here have read the Dresden Files? Because I know most of us have.
I read a couple comic books of it.
I have never heard of the Dresden Files. What's that?
Alex, have you ever read this?
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay, but for those who have, Vasily Fett is pretty much Sonya if he was an exterminator in New York.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a pretty good description.
Like, he's just hilarious Russian guy, and they played him really well too. And mind you, this is a show about vampires where it's treated like a virus, like worms in the blood sort of thing. And as an exterminator, who they've slightly leaned towards the fact that he may know martial arts and he's gigantic. Him, and he just does it because he loves his job. He loves killing pests a lot. And had the episode today of him like essentially shutting down a restaurant. He's like, he's in a restaurant. He's like, all right, everybody out of the kitchen. You're done. Start cleaning. He walks out into the main room. He's like, everybody out of here. And it's a big, expensive restaurant. Everyone's like not even paying attention to him. And he leans down and is this like pretty lady in a red dress, like, hey lady, check this out. He pulls out this rat that's like this big. Everyone freaks out and runs. It's hilarious. That's not even a spoiler, but like,
Wow.
That's more of a
least,
teaser.
that's the least gross thing that happens on this episode. Is that this lady gets like a foot-long rat shoved in her face.
Yeah.
Oh, and that sounds pleasant.
I have to see this.
It's
I
pretty
mean,
neat.
There are also books, and they have them on Amazon that you can get on like a Kindle or anything.
It's a
and they're-
trilogy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I finished the second one. I'm probably gonna get the third one the next day or two.
Yeah, I'm probably going to be picking these up because I started reading the first one and didn't make it all the way through it years, like whenever the hell these things came out, and
Oh,
now I'm going to pick them up again.
Is it weird to think that 09 was like 5 or 6 years ago?
Yeah. Then again,
Yeah.
Batman is 75 years old, so what the F?
True.
So that show continues to be good. They keep doing good character development all the way through. The special effects have not slacked off in the slightest, and they're doing a good mix of stuff that is both scary and it's not over-the-top gore either. None of it is. It's not, I'm going to scare you with blood and gore and everything. It is good vampire horror, good body horror, and stuff that makes your skin crawl because you're actually seeing skin crawl
Because there are worms.
without going so far over the top that like people who are like could get sick to their stomach could not deal with it. So just because I know she's a scaredy cat, that's the reason that I recommend her not to actually watch this.
Scaredy cat.
Scared cat.
Yeah.
Scared cat.
Leaning into like we had the Batman thing going on, but leaning onto the other side of the fence, surprise, surprise, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. got picked up for a second season. Go figure.
Woohoo!
I still need to watch that.
It is
Me too.
very
That
good.
kinda bombed out over here.
Like, did it bomb? Like, not do well?
Yeah, really badly. It was out for a few weeks and people just went, nope.
Huh? Because it was pretty successful over here,
Hmm.
and
Cool.
it goes a little. It meanders a little bit about the middle, but by the end of it, it has an incredibly strong Joss Whedon finish. So
Cool.
if you stick with it, it's definitely pretty cool. And I
Sorry,
can
I'll have
tell-
to watch online because it doesn't even air here anymore.
well, the
Yeah.
season's actually been it's been done for a while,
Mm.
but they had to meander a little bit because the show came out prior to the Captain America film, and it had a tie-in with the Captain America film.
So I had to.
It had to hit, like, they managed, like, okay, this builds up to movie release, aftermath of movie on a TV show that is unrelated to it by title. So they tied it in about as good as you possibly could.
Right.
I like when things do cross
Mhm.
platform stuff. So
Plus, being a Joss Whedon production, you know that there's gonna be some good character development along the line.
Yeah, he's good at
Oh,
that.
yeah.
He's
you have a bunch
It will
of
be
good
critically
people.
acclaimed and canceled halfway through.
No, it's not on Fox, so it won't be.
Yeah.
Still bitter about Almost Human. Ooh. But
I know a lot of people who are still bitter about Serenity.
oh,
Yeah.
everyone is.
Or-
Everyone.
I can never remember, is Serenity the movie or is Firefly the movie?
Serenity is the movie. Firefly is the
And
show.
Firefly's the series, yeah. I mean, I've seen it through a couple of times. I can just never remember which is which.
It's fun.
Yeah.
But they have a bunch of people on that show. Bill Paxton was running around for a while too, which was hilarious. And but he didn't show up till partway through. So if you guys like bailed out partway into it, then you started to miss out.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty good. If you haven't seen it, I recommend checking it out. Good stuff. Now, for a change, we actually have some releases this weekend in theaters that I care about. And again, I'm sorry, Karth, this is for the States. I don't know how long it's going to be till you guys get international releases or whatever.
Assume a month after.
Assume a month. Well, a month from now, you'll be seeing this stuff. Because I talked a little bit last week about the sequel to The Purge. That's coming out Friday. All these are coming out Friday. And
Cool.
that's the bit where, there's like one night a year that nothing is illegal. So crime is rampant,
Everything
crazy.
is permitted.
Yeah. Except in the most anarchic, crazy way that it could possibly happen. And the idea is, well, there's a bunch of things going on with it. There's a police sergeant who's out there in the first place to get revenge on a guy that killed his family. And
Oh.
Alright.
and that's the guy who runs into these other people, and then he's trying to save them in this setting.
Is it
where
being played by Liam Neeson?
No, it's not being played by Liam Neeson. He's
Liam
being
Neeson's
played
not
by-
killing anyone in this scene.
Yep. He's being played by Frank Grillo, who was actually in The Grey, which is a Liam Neeson show. A Liam Neeson movie, and he was in Minority Report, and he was in the new Captain America too.
Still haven't seen that.
Fix that.
This actually, I mean, the concept of the Purge and the idea that there are these different stories that take place during this
Mhm.
single night, that sounds more like a
Kinda neat.
TV show idea.
It
Kind of
could
like
be.
all of these individual stories, like an episode you could talk about one person's story during the Purge day and another person's story.
And it's a very interesting idea, but I'm also leery on it for another reason. I'd managed to dig up an article, and I thought it was kind of neat, that after the first Purge movie, it took Universal all of 3 days to greenlight a sequel. This is like one of the top, like, fastest to get a sequel movies that has happened. I mean, it's up there with things like Scream 2 and what else do we got on here? Like the Paranormal Activity stuff and the Scary Movie and, well, Blair Witch had issues. and also Wayne's World 2. So, and The Hangover. So,
It's like they planned that there's going to be a sequel during the production.
it's like that.
Interesting.
But really the problem with that kind of production is it could be a cash grab. And the movie itself usually doesn't live up to the original idea. Let's
Right.
say, I don't know, the Saw movies. The first one, honestly, it was almost a masterpiece. It really was. And then the sequels, why are we still going on? It was one of those.
Yeah, I mean, that's the idea of behind Saw, and the reason that things like It, what's the other one? Final Destination, even things like the Scary Movie,
Yep.
is that the thing with Scary Movie is that there's always pop culture that they can just fuck
Yep.
around with, and with Saw and Final Destination, it's just like, how can we create new ways for people to die?
Largely, yes.
The only
And
issue with
yeah, the story is completely secondary.
Yeah. The issue I had with the Scary Movies thing is, yeah, they're doing pop culture. The issue is a lot of the jokes they make don't hold up. Like, you can go
Yeah.
back and watch, say, Young Frankenstein, for example. The humor in that holds up because we're all still familiar with the whole Frankenstein story. The jokes that are in there are still funny. Even though that movie came out, 30 years ago?
It was a while back.
Like that. A lot of the jokes that are in the Scary Movie, I wonder if I showed that to someone today, like, say, one of the kids from the gym,
Probably
if they
wouldn't.
would get half the jokes, and they probably wouldn't.
They're way too topical. The humor is way, way too topical.
Right. Whereas a lot of the older farce movies, the older parody movies, they did a better job of using humor. That kind of stuff will always be funny. Like,
Spaceballs.
yeah,
Mel
I mean-
Brooks, anything.
Yeah.
yeah, Mel Brooks is the master at doing it.
Mhm.
But I mean, there were other farces. And technically, Mel Brooks didn't do a whole lot of the writing for Young Frankenstein, as an example. A lot of it was actually Gene Wilder, because if you listen to
Yep.
the director's commentary, they do some back and forth where they're talking about how there were a couple of scenes that Gene Wilder really wanted in, and Mel Brooks told him, nope, we're not putting it in. And the reason he did that was he wanted Gene to really talk about it and really force it and, get into why they needed to have that scene in. And if he fought for it, he'd say, yeah, go ahead and put it in. Well, why'd you make me fight for it? Because if you didn't fight for it, it wasn't necessary.
It's a very good way of looking at things. And the Scary Movie franchises are more mass-produced, more,
Yeah.
how can we make money this year? And it's
Yeah.
all lowbrow
Yeah.
humor. That's really the thing.
It's
Yeah,
not
I
just the scary movies. Now they're making.
Oh,
like,
they do everything now
Big
because they've run out of good
disaster.
horror movies.
Scary movie.
There
What about Meet the Spartans? Basically, the way farces and parodies have become, people don't. They make it too much in the moment because they don't expect the audience to get it 2 years from now. They don't care
they're
if the
just
audience
gonna,
gets
they're
it 2
just
years
gonna
from
make
now.
another
They're
one a
just
year
gonna make
later.
another one. Weird Al's actually, because he just had an album that came out.
Yeah,
He's
he was
actually
released
pretty
a
good.
song a day, aren't you? Video
Yeah.
a day, I believe.
He's always been really good at making humor that, carries through. Like, I'm sorry, Smells Like Nirvana is still funny.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I'm a Michael Jackson fan. There's some of his songs I hear the music to. I don't hear him singing. I hear the Weird Al version. Like, Bad, I don't hear I'm bad. I hear,
Bad.
no, I'm bad. I'm bad. I hear that part. I
White
can't
and
listen
Nerdy
to
is
my,
a big example.
Yes.
White and nerdy.
and I can't listen to My Sharona. I hear, My Bologna.
He's a
Oh,
king.
Amish Paradise.
oh
Yeah.
yeah,
The
definitely.
These
Star
are
Wars
things-
bit off of American
Yeah.
Pie.
Yeah, and these are songs that are decades old at this point that are still funny. Whereas a lot of other artists, when they make parody songs, they're only funny in that moment.
For a little while.
A little while. What else do we have coming out this week? Well, we have, if you've been following anything with Scarlett Johansson, that Lucy movie comes out this week.
I want to go
Which
see that. It's so
I
bad.
would really want to see that if the premise of the movie wasn't so super wrong. Like, it's visually beautiful. It looks like it'll be an interesting story. It's made for stupid people. Because the premise is this lady gets this chemical in her system that lets her utilize 100% of her brain, using the whole idea that we only use 10% of our brain or whatever. And she starts to get crazy superpowers.
Didn't they do that in Resident Evil and then retcon it because
I don't know if they
was too
retconned it, but that's...
Yeah, they did. That was what one of the movies was. The first 5 minutes of the movie was them blowing up all of the Alice's and taking away the current Alice's superpowers. Essentially, the first 5 minutes of the movie was them going, "Hey, you remember everything that happened in the last 2 of you? Yeah, just let me erase that off before. Sorry about that. Just
It's
forget it
about
happened."
time. I might actually watch those then. Well, it's going to be a big thing, and they have a lot of good actors in it. It's just the thing that bothers me is we don't just use 10% of our brain. We don't. And it's not really a mystery of what will happen if we use 100% of our brain. We'll overheat and explode because we're trying to multitask too hard. It's a computer thing. But I mean, if you can do the whole suspension of disbelief thing, you got Morgan Freeman in there. You got a bunch of really decent actors.
I'm gonna be completely honest. It's a movie with Scarlett Johansson kicking ass.
That's why
I'm gonna
most
see it.
people are going to see it.
It's kind of like Ultraviolet. The main reason I like that movie, Mila Jovovich kicking ass. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
So that's coming out, and that is also this Friday. So all these things are opening the 25th.
Purges? I thought the Purge was already out.
All on the 25th? Crazy.
I don't think it is. I could be wrong, but
They just sort of space it out really evenly here. It's like you get this movie, 2 weeks later you get this movie.
no, they all have to compete and fight. Movies make money and blah. The last one is definitely, I'm definitely going to see it, and it's definitely going to be a stupid movie, and I don't care, because the Rock Hercules movie is coming out.
I heard
I was about to
about
see that. So
Isn't Ninja Turtles coming out soon too?
Not
I think
yet.
When's
Not
that coming out?
August 8th?
Yeah, they're going to be fighting Guardians of the Galaxy on that one, so
I wonder
raccoon-
which one's gonna be worth seeing.
the raccoons got me, because
Oh yeah.
them I'll buy them. It's going to be goofy, and it's going to be more humorous, but I'll definitely go see that. And Michael Bacon died in one of his own explosions, but that's just me. So
Oh.
the Hercules movie at first, like, whatever, it's a Hercules movie. They just had one of those, right? And then I sat down and tried to compare them, which is really where I started getting interested in this. The other film had, because another Hercules movie came out like a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
Forget what it was actually called, but they had a pretty boy actor set up, and he's fighting armies for truth and justice and things like that, doing the whole Kevin Sorbo route. And I couldn't get behind it because it looked kind of empty, but underlying that, it was kind of set up more like, it looked like more of an Asian style action movie.
Huh.
That kind of military intrigue
Oh,
and that sort of thing.
I saw it. It was not particularly good.
And like, so what all Hercules things, since you saw it, what all Hercules things did he do in that movie?
Hercules thinks he did the very typical. He took out the lion that couldn't be hurt by weapons or anything.
Mhm.
The
Well,
only
that's good.
other remotely Herculean sort of thing he did, the very final fight, he holds up his weapon, he gets struck by a bolt of lightning, and he starts whipping around a whip of lightning. That's how he wins.
Really?
That's the weak thing. Oh no, we're fighting a guy that I couldn't possibly beat. Struck by lightning, giant lightning whip, just starts randomly whipping around, not even caring about his own people.
Powers of Zeus and shit.
Yeah, and the middle of the movie is basically him doing gladiator stuff to get back to where he needs to be because he got sent off somewhere. Because his
See.
parents were like, "You're bad,
Yeah. Well,
really bad."
see, the whole thing with the parents, whatnot, and why a lot of stuff doesn't happen in Hercules movies. This one's doing because I think everybody in this generation has been pretty much corrupted by the Kevin Sorbo Hercules. Like that he was some Captain America type guy. He wasn't. Let's just say that right now.
Hercules was basically a dumb guy who kept losing his temper, getting into doing things he really regretted, and so putting himself through terrible things for penance.
One of the things that he regretted was that Hera kind of possessed him, sort of, or he might have just gone really mad. He went apeshit crazy and killed his whole family,
Yeah.
and he
And-
was
And that led to the 7 trials, or
12
12 trials. of
12
Hercules.
trials, labors of Hercules,
Yeah.
which is what this movie is with The Rock in it. He is some crazy barbarian-looking guy who does not look like he's seen a bath in weeks because he's living on the road. Go fucking figure. That was Hercules. He's hauling around this big-ass club and smashing people with it. It's a club. He didn't ever use a sword or any kind of really civilized weapon in Greek myth. I had a Greek mythology course through college because I was interested in, and I wanted credits. But he was like one of the quintessential barbarians of Greek mythology in general. That's why you see in comics now. That's why Thor and Hercules are always button heads or best buddies, depending on which ones you're reading. They're pretty much the same guy. And this one covers the labors of Hercules, because even in the trailer, you see the Nemean lion, you see the Hydra, you see the Promethean boar, and the Cretan bull, and all the monsters that he went after. You see them all in this. This is following the myths more, which gives me a little more respect for it.
Yeah.
And Dwayne Johnson has had kind of a sordid career with movies. I've seen him in bad stuff, or I should say cheesy stuff. And I've seen him do some pretty good stuff, too. Like, sometimes where he surprised me.
Be cool.
Like, yeah.
He needs good
that
direction,
was a
and then
hilarious movie.
And he was in, Get Smart? He was really funny in Get Smart, where he stayed
He's actually really good.
for the guy's head.
By the way, you were talking about The Purge, Anarchy. Did you realize that was a Michael Bay film?
Are you serious?
No, I didn't.
So was the original one. You were just talking about him, so I went on his IMDb page because I wasn't sure if he... Because originally he was directing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but then that kind of... He's not directing it anymore, he's just producing. But I did see something that I don't know whether to be excited or terrified about on his page. Transformers 5.
Are you
That
surprised?
really
Pre-production.
doesn't surprise me. I mean, I don't
Oh, I'm
want
not
that.
surprised. I'm just not sure if I should be ecstatic or terrified, because I love Transformers. I still get a chill up my spine every time I play the first Transformers movie that he did, and you hear Peter Cullen's voice, and I am Optimus Prime.
Yeah, that one.
I still get a chill up my spine every time.
It's because Peter Cullen is awesome.
That said, I go back and forth on whether or not I actually really like any of them. That doesn't stop me from watching them repeatedly.
That's largely what he's cashing in on. I am not seeing any Michael Bay going on with The Purge.
It says he produced both of them. He was a
Yeah,
Produced,
he was a
so
producer.
He's
Yeah.
vaguely attached to them then. It
with
was
4
Well,
other people or something.
Okay, here's the thing though. He was the producer on it. He was also the producer on the last 2 Transformer movies. He technically wasn't. Yeah.
director. Well, honestly, most good franchises don't keep the same director for a long time. Most TV
Right.
shows don't even have the same director for, several episodes.
Spider-Man did.
Yeah, we all know how I feel about those. At least
Really? I've never heard you rant about that.
At least the Sam Raimi ones. The new ones I hate far less, but they're doing a better job with characterization, blah, 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 blah. But, okay, so Hercules is also coming out Friday. I'm definitely going to give this one a shot. John Hurt's in this movie? I didn't even know that. More reason to watch it. What else do we got going on in here? No one else that I care about. Alright. So, yeah, Hercules, Friday, as well as Lucy, and let me see if I can actually confirm when The Purge Anarchy is coming out, because well, yeah, it is technically already released. That came out last week. Yeah. So that's out now. It's got about 50% rating. Bouncing around here. See if I can throw you some Rotten Tomatoes on this.
I don't always look at that site, though, because there are some things they say were terrible movies that I love, and vice versa. So
I really just go to those compilation sites just because it's convenient that you get all of these opinions in a single page, and then you can read them. I don't really care about the score itself.
Huh. Well, it's still about there. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is still top in the box office, but The Purge Anarchy is underneath it. Granted, well, Planet still has 36 million. Purge has 29.
Wow.
And they're rating it about 56%. So, average user rating, it's another horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
About 68% of users liked it. So, slightly better ratings from the users than the official the official reviewers, because we all know how often official reviewers actually know how to review films. But so, decent horror movie. If it's bad, they'd let us know. So that's TV and movies then.
So about more TV, because that's essentially what I'm also referencing.
Anime isn't TV.
Anime is an entire lifestyle. There we go. I said it. Mwaha.
Yeah, it is actually.
It is too. I'm actually gonna roll that into my first topic of the anime news, which was CNN did a TV article, I guess it would be considered, or showing of, I don't know how many people have actually heard of this guy, but I know I have, especially from like a lot of the cosplay community. Hideki Kobayashi. Hideki Kobayashi. He is known as the 50-year-old schoolgirl.
What?
Interesting.
Oh, elaborate.
I don't know if I want to know where this is going, but I'm gonna find out.
Okay.
I have an idea, but I'm like.
So, he is essentially a 50-year-old guy who the only thing that he wears is schoolgirl uniforms. And CNN did a whole, like, news article, interview, stuff like that with him. And it's actually kind of surprising because it was the America CNN. Like,
where is this guy located? Is he Japanese?
Yeah,
or?
he's in Japan. Like, in Japan.
Making more sense.
But essentially what he does is he just goes out in public, dresses up like these schoolgirls, and he goes to like different like seminars and teaches students and teaches college students and other Japanese children about what it's like to be unique, because a lot of time for Japanese culture you're told not to be unique. You're told you need to conform.
Very conformatory.
Yeah. So for him, it's kind of something that's revolutionary, and a lot of people think that, oh, he's just a pervert, blah, 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 like he's doing this because, like, he's gay or whatever, but really, like, when he broke it down and he's doing these seminars, it's just, I want to do something that's going to be unique to me, and this is what I chose. He's a straight man, like, he's very well educated. I think he said there was, like, a computer engineer, or computer programmer, or something along those lines. He, like, is smart and does this because this is what he wants to do. This is what makes him feel comfortable. Which I thought was really interesting that CNN had picked up this news article, which was pretty cool. another thing, which was Yoshinara, who was part of Gen X Trigger. He did the mecha designer for Gurren Lagann, Evangelion, Panty and Stockings. So, like, he worked with Kill la Kill, and he's, like, this just huge animator and designer. And what he did is actually, a lot of times he did DeviantArt pages because he wanted, like, some of his work, like, just not to be, like, for business, but for fun. So he actually made a new DeviantArt page, and people have found it, and it's called Neighbor Studios. And he's doing a lot of his new artwork and just, like, fun stuff. Like, there's a picture of him breaking apart Astro Boy, or just chibi characters of stuff. So, I mean, that was pretty cool. I thought that was awesome to see someone who is famous for his work being like, here's some fun time. Here's some things that I do on the side just to entertain people. So, here you go.
I love it when they do that. I know a bunch of animators here in America do that, too. Like, I know, Craig McCracken, the guy who made the Powerpuff Girls, has a DeviantArt.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Cartoon Network animators do.
Yeah. So I thought that was really cool, actually, that he himself was just like, hey, look, here's my DeviantArt page. And I guess it was like something along the lines of he's had several of them taken down already. So he's like, I started a new page for a friend. Please check it out. So that's pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
For more of a local news, sorry, Cardinal.
Alright.
Gurren Lagann is officially coming to Adult Swim.
What?
This,
Yep.
Oh, Gurren Lagann, yeah.
Yeah, Gurren Lagann is coming on August 16th. So
You got to be careful with that one, because I know what they're gonna do with the dubbed version, and the dubbed
Well, it
version.
already has a dub. It already has a dub because
It's not as good. They
it
kill
aired.
it.
Where did it air? It aired on a Sci-Fi Channel. I remember when I was in college, they had it every Monday night, and I would watch it, and I'm like, there are all these big, huge anime voice actors. You got Young Bosch, you got Lowenthal, Shell Ruff, and this was my first exposure to Gurren Lagann, and I'm watching this, and I'm like, I really didn't listen to much of the dub. I was more just invested in what the story was, and it's completely it's not unexpected that it would be on Toonami, and I do know also the Toonami got back Dragon Ball Z Kai, and it's going to be uncut, which is great.
Speaking
Awesome.
of which, Team 4 Star did Dragon Ball Z Kai Part 2, where they sum up
Really?
the Frieza
Saw
saga,
that.
where they sum up the Frieza saga in 5 minutes.
Fucking amazing.
I know exactly what I'm doing as soon as we're done with podcast.
Yes.
Is it on their
I was
site?
watching that
It's on their
just
site.
before-
It's like the newest thing that they've come up with. It's 5 minutes of, who's got the thing? I got the thing. We found the thing. That's all it is. Very good. Just
So-
my.
Toonami's doing okay. I mean, they've got the only thing I watch on Toonami is Space Dandy, but that's because it airs on Toonami before it even airs in Japan. So
My big
Crazy.
issue with the dub of Gurren Lagann is the character of Kamina is like one of the central things that glues the show together, and he's this overexcited, manly Japanese sort of guy,
right.
and he's all about being the manliest thing around. And when you jump the culture barrier and put it in English, he's nowhere near as awesome as he actually is if you watch it in the native language. That's
Yeah, they
really the
got-
thing.
They got Teen Gohan / Aizen from Bleach to voice him.
Yeah, and that's like, the whole thing is he's a force of personality. That's the whole point of the character, and that force of personality is like from literally the first episode to the last episode, which if you've ever seen it knows like
Yeah.
the time skip and all the stuff that
Yeah.
happens half the way through. That's a big deal, and if that doesn't start off strong, show's dead. So if you watch the English dub of it, the show kind of dies in your mouth right out the gate, whereas it's actually like it's this huge, like what the people who have become Trigger always try to do. It's this huge story of like human willpower versus adversity and everything else, and it's awesome. It's like what the human will can do, and it doesn't need anything else, and defiance, and all of these neat concepts mushed into a mecha anime that isn't about mechas at all. It's about people. That's what they're good at, and the dub kills it. It's just
It's that bad, eh?
It's the biggest, most motivational anime you'll ever see in your life.
Just
And
don't
there
watch
is
it in
one-
English.
And there is one point where there is a giant robot that is so big, it is using galaxies as shuriken.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, but that's why it's cool. I mean, it's all about symbolism. It's one of those things.
Yes. Yeah. It's so big.
Okay.
It's absurdly. Oh my god! It's like. I'm speechless. Let's move on.
That's
Yeah.
going on the list.
So yeah, that's coming to Toonami. So, I think we have Attack on Titan that's currently airing on Toonami as well. So they're actually
They're
getting
doing
a lot
that
of
too.
they're doing a lot of major name animes that are coming into Toonami that are actually kind of for a higher generation audience than just the little kids, which I think is also pretty cool.
Well-
Bleach is gonna be ending soon, so they need
Wha-
those shows.
What? They're actually doing that? I thought they would just be Filler City forever. With
Well,
Bleach.
the original Bleach anime ends on a stupid, garbage, bullshit cliffhanger that isn't even built up to it. It literally just, like, I'm spoiling the end of the anime. 'cause
It's okay. I
that bad.
stopped watching a while back.
Ichigo
Right.
gets to the Soul Society for some reason. This is right after they start a new arc, and then he's like, "I'm here to help," and then it just says Ichigo substitute Soul Reaper, end of the series. Now the manga keeps going. The manga keeps going like it should, but the anime just cuts off. Now there are rumors like we could continue the story if we wanted to. It's not out of the question. And I'm like, you're gonna cut it off. Don't cut it off right when he gets in the room and then just put some text over the screen. That's not how you end anything.
That sounds like a severe business issue happening. Because there are whole filler arcs in Bleach. Like,
Yes, there
there are
are.
whole.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not good at all. And they're so long.
And this is why I boycotted that anime.
Like, it
I've
started out
never
great.
watched a single episode.
I started out great, and there's so many good characters in there. Like, Kenpachi is the other guy I want to be when I grow up, because I already have a sense of direction. But, it's just like whole arcs of filler that, like, by the way, we're going to stop what we're talking about now because we caught up to the manga. We're going to go do this other side story, and we're going to tell you that's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
read the manga. Because the thing is, with the anime, when they're actually doing something, when there's an actual fight going on, it's fine. It's really well animated.
Uh-huh.
The battles are pretty good.
It's kind of
But-
Dragon Ball Z, but with samurai.
Yeah, and I mean, as far as evolving the original shonen fighting animation, it does a great job. But filler can kill an anime. It breaks the pace. When they did the Zanpakuto become real people thing, that went on so long. And I'm like,
Yeah.
are you really going to continue this?
And there's the whole Bount thing.
The bout was, oh god, that's like,
There was a
I
whole
mean,
storyline of nothing.
yeah, Bleach isn't the only one who does this. Naruto does it.
Never
I
got
guess
into
One
that one
Piece
because
sort of
of
does
that.
it. They kind of build that up. Inuyasha did it. Inuyasha reused filler plot stories. So when
Inuyasha,
Bleach,
Dragon Ball Z for girls.
exactly, that's what Scott from VG Cat said. That's what Pants Man said. All right, enough Bleach rage. Let's listen to Cat's news because getting it all out of all of our systems.
I was gonna say, well, I only have one more until we have to end. So,
Okay.
this should help Cardinal out a lot because he was saying about how he's not sure what he should watch next.
Exactly.
Um,
Like, I'm very new to the whole anime scene. People need to show me and tell me what to do.
Well, Crunchyroll just signed a licensing agreement with Anime Planet. Anime Planet used to be one of those websites that you could go on and be like, I like this anime, what else can I watch that is like this anime? And it has a lot of feedback, a lot of reviews, a lot of user just compliments and arguments, really. So they actually, Crunchyroll decided to be like, here guys, we're gonna help you get up to date, get a new website going, all this kind of stuff. And they're actually integrating a lot of the cues and the playlists that you can get on Crunchyroll onto Anime Planet.
I see
And
where this is going.
So
It's like Netflix, anime Netflix.
It's
I mean,
it's just
recommendations wise.
Ah, well,
it's not, there's not like episodes on there, like full length episodes. It's literally just
it's like
a
forum.
discussion forum website. But it's a place that you can find, hey, you like this because of this, let's show you this because you liked that kind of scenario.
It's got a
and-
lot of users, I assume.
Yeah, oh yeah. I used it like when I was in high school, like 7 odd years ago. And so I used it for a lot of my recommendations and helping with a lot of people who were getting into anime. And it was actually pretty nice that I refound it and was like, hey, Crunchyroll, they kind of helped bring it off its feet a little bit more. So anime, I think it's anime-planet, or just Google Anime Planet, and it's a pretty awesome website actually. So that should give you a little update or sort of a better way to find new anime based on what you like. So hopefully it helps, Cardinal.
See, this
Good
really
thing.
smells
hope
like
so.
this really
Something
smells
will.
like Funimation backlash here, because
I don't know.
it's Crunchyroll and Funimation fighting each other. So Crunchyroll just so happens to go up to this website that is a giant in the American anime community, be like, hey, let us help you guys out. And all of your users are come over to us now.
Yep.
So yeah, this is a
Funimation's
very
all,
smart business move. This is a very smart business move, and also is further establishing Crunchyroll as the nice guys.
They are. They really
So,
are.
yeah.
But yeah, I figured I'd leave the podcast with that kind of good note of things for
It is
our
a good note of
anime.
things.
So,
Yes.
but yeah, we have officially hit the fact that we are now 15 minutes over time.
But hey, I don't have to rush off to work for once.
Yeah.
What's up?
Really?
I don't have to rush off to work. For once.
That's true.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about. I'm like, doesn't Jeremy have to go somewhere? I hope we aren't
No.
home.
Nope.
Oh, he just
But-
got done with that.
Yeah, it's camp week, so it started at 9 in the morning because I guess they slept over at the gym last night. I'm glad I didn't have to be there for that part.
But yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately though, Twitch
We got cooked.
does not like when I upload more than like 2.5 hours. They were just like, nope, you're cutting this into segments. And I'm like, but I don't wanna, it's only an hour more. Oh well.
Only an hour more of our awesome. People
Awesome.
Oh, we're
Totally
worth it.
freaking amazing.
We
But yeah.
aren't worth it.
So, seeing that how awesome we are, we should have people that are following us. So speaking
what?
of,
What?
there's links up here and links down here and
I'm up
here
there
and
now.
here
I'm
and
up there.
here. So, come support how
Links
awesome
are
we are.
everywhere.
So on that note of things, you can find us here 2 p.m. Eastern Time every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, twitch.tv/AlmirMiel. And for the rest of our hosts, we have random words everywhere to follow, like, subscribe, and do that kind of nonsense so that you can get a hold of us. So that is going to be our show today, guys. We shall say bye.
Bye now.
Bye-bye now.
See
By the
y'all.
way,
Y'all lost
Grim, you're late. You're really late. On time next time.
Really
He came in like 10 minutes ago, so I have to yell at Grim for a second for being so
Grim.
late.
because he only
You're
cares about your segment.
He really does.
It's only
So, yeah.
once. The last part.
The only
yeah.
time he talks to me is like hentai joke.
But
It's
yeah.
not like those
So-
aren't plentiful.
Well, you just keep walking into it, man. You gotta be careful.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Especially since they have suckers and pincers.
Aw.
Pincers!
But yeah. This is
you
gonna
remember
be
that
the end of
game
our
we
show.
played?
Yes, I remember that.
Baby with pincers.
I remember
Bye-bye.
that. Bye.